A non-violent man or woman can do nothing save by the power and grace of God. Without it, he or she won't have the courage to die without anger, without fear, and without retaliation. Mahatma Gandhi. While being a devout Hindu, Gandhi had studied the teachings of Jesus, particularly the Beatitudes, at great length. But it was the portrayal of Jesus that we see in today's gospel that had the greatest impact on Gandhi's teaching and practice of non-violence. At the Mount of Olives, at his trial and at his death upon a cross, Jesus faced accusations, betrayal, condemnation, violence, and capital punishment orchestrated by the religious leaders and sanctioned by the government of the day. His engagement with the protagonists seems completely at odds with the human logic of claim and counterclaim, argument and rebuttal, attack and counterpunch. A deeply prayerful and contemplative spirit enables Jesus to stand calmly before his accusers without fear or anger. The words of the counsel to Jesus, "If you are," echo the three temptations from the Gospel of the first Sunday of Lent. From a place of great inner strength and truth, Jesus refuses to cooperate with his accusers. The vortex of violence is spinning out of control, but Jesus does not give in to its centrifugal force. Only in Luke's Gospel do we have Simon from Cyrene in North Africa carrying the cross behind Jesus. For Luke, it is never enough to hear Jesus, to just admire Jesus. He calls his readers to be watching these things, so we too may be witnesses, true followers of the way of Jesus, taking up the cross every day. Only in Luke's Gospel do we have Jesus from the cross say, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Even in this darkest place of abject misery, destruction and degradation, the spring of God's mercy still flows pure and strong. Only in Luke's Gospel do we have the dialogue with the two convicted criminals. The first one deriding, questioning and challenging. The second simply asking to be remembered by Jesus. This second criminal is often called the repentant thief, but we don't know his crime and he does not ask for forgiveness. In humility, he simply acknowledges his sin and is merciful to Jesus. Only in Luke's Gospel is the curtain torn in two before the death of Jesus. These violent and agonizing last moments of Jesus' life seem so contrary to his teachings of love and compassion. Throughout his life, he had hoped to redeem Israel from its inevitable confrontation with and destruction by the Roman Empire. Now, through his redemptive suffering, he has taken away anything that can divide us, exclude us, and eliminate us from God's eternal mercy and love. Only in Luke's Gospel do we have Jesus saying with his last breath a prayer of offering. "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. Rather than a final curse from the lips of a violent revolutionary, as the criminal he replaced, Barabbas, might have uttered, Jesus chooses to hold in tension the great paradox of life. At the beginning of his mission, Jesus announced that he had come to bring good news to the afflicted, liberty to captives, sight to the blind, and to set the oppressed free. He had lived and breathed those hopes and aspirations each and every day. He will be true to this mission and purpose in his final breath. In Luke's Gospel, Jesus refuses to be given over to anger, resentment, revenge, bitterness, or disappointment. He holds all of humanity's suffering, sin, and evil with outstretched arms of compassion and unfathomable mercy. It took a Roman soldier to realize what this innocent, suffering servant had done. In the words of the prophet Isaiah, he was oppressed, yet he did not open his mouth. By a perversion of justice, he was taken away, although he had done no violence. His disciples, watching from afar, see, but are yet to understand. Our modern world of 24-hour news, Facebook updates and constant media commentary sees all, understands little, and demands immediate response. Today, Jesus is calling us to ask discerning questions and to work towards creative solutions wherever there is injustice, violence, and oppression. Today, the problems are greater than ever. Somewhere in the world, one child will die of starvation before the end of this sentence. 60 million people are displaced from their homes. The cycle of conflict and warfare is vicious and unrelenting. Today, the Prince of Peace calls us to follow him. Wherever there is darkness and evil, to be bearers of light and goodness. Wherever there is anger and hostility, to offer unconditional love, hospitality, and compassion. And wherever there is a hunger for revenge and conflict, to work patiently for a world of peace and mercy. Come what may.